Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome to another Supreme Commander Epic. That's right, it's the time of the week where lots of people who don't have much going on in their lives decide to spend a huge amount of time playing a video game, and people with even less going on sit down to watch them. And that's us, and we're not remotely ashamed. It's action, pro level, exciting, more or less pro level, a couple that don't make the grade, but it's SETONS clutch, and that's going to make all of the difference. We're very excited. First of all, apologies for no cast last week. I wasn't completely off the airwaves, though. I did participate in a podcast, thanks to my friend Jeremy Siegel, the Y Influence podcast. No relation to the great Steven Seagal, I'm sure. Well, maybe it's an unusual name. Who am I to speak? I won't mention mine. But yeah, all about the history of the channel and FAF and all of that sort of biz. So do check it out if you haven't done so already. Link in the description below this video, and if it's not there, shout at me and I will make it so. Secondly, as well, I fumbled some words over a joke last week, or the week before, when it was the last cast, and I was meant to be making a joke about my dog because he was annoying, and I meant to say he's going through a breakup right now. But I had what my mother would back in the day would have described as a windy pop while I was trying to get the joke out, and it's halfway between a burp and a hiccup when your torso essentially just malfunctions and doesn't work properly. So I ended up swallowing my words, and lots of people inadvertently didn't get what I meant and thought I was in the middle of a breakup. And I would like to reassure everyone, thank you for all my kind messages and all the words of support, but the wife and I are good. We're not in the middle of a family breakdown. I mean, she's only putting out a couple of times a year, but that's normal in a marriage, right? Of course it is. I'm joking. Sort of. But no, it's so we're all good. And thank you for all of the unnecessary messages, but we couldn't be happier. Right, I'm so glad that she doesn't watch these casts. I mean, she might have heard that. She's only next door. We'll see. All right, enough of that jazz. Let's get on with today's game. It's going to be custom 4v4 on SETONS. I'm ready, you guys are ready, and the players are sure as hell ready. So let's go on over to the game zone and see how they're going to get on. Chain cutting. Alrighty, we know what we're dealing with here. The lovely, illustrious SETONS clutch. I'm going to slow it down so we get the intros out. This is Team 1 up here at the top. This is Team 2 down here at the bottom going first for Team 1. Rearguard air position in Dijon yellow. It is the Trump supporter, or at least 50% of them. Joke. It's the wall going up. People say, Carl, you're a conservative. Why don't you like Trump? And it's fundamentally because I don't think he's a conservative. Conservatives like free markets. They don't slap tariffs on everything. And also us Brits like people who are behaved gentlemanly. You know, they're not. I don't like arrogant people particularly. It's not my thing. That's why I'm not a huge fan of Tyson Fury. And if he does fight Joshua, I will be rooting for Joshua because that man is nothing but gracious. But anyway, that's a massive tangent right there. Here he is going UEF. That is a sensible decision. Opening first land for rearguard air position. Let's take a look at team member number 2 for Team 1 over here in lurid green at the cliffs. It's the Emperor Penguin going Aeon, opening first and second land. At the causeway in Hallie Orange, a UEF, how very sensible, Marquistador, and he's going first land as expected. And last but not least, for Team 1, Stable Boy Bennis, I'm assuming previously Epic Bennis, unless that's somebody else, part of a clan of Bennises. Not sure quite what that would look like, but here he is. Excuse me, that's a windy pop right there. I did a windy pop. You hear that? That was nearly a hiccup, but it was anyway, without focusing on it. Stable Boy Bennis. Here he is going first land, second air in Elephantine Grey, going UEF. So what is that? It's 3 UEF and an Aeon for Team 1. Over to Team 2 in Ferrari Red, still working on that final core mass there. It's Shady Socks going Aeon first land. Team member number 2 in Regal Purple. It's Noob 900 going Cybrin first and second air at the cliffs. Interesting stuff. Over to the causeway, another Cybrin. This time it's Mac. He's gone first air as well. And he's working on Bomber, so Bomber first. So we'll have to check in on that. Very exciting early harassment right off the bat. Look at that. Using up his stores. Hasn't even got an engineer out to go and grab some mexes. Super exciting. And last but not least, Achieve Jaguar down here in lime green going Aeon and opening first land. So the bomber's complete. It's on its way. While we let it track, we'll mention it again. Quality's at 94%. That's about as balanced as you can get before you start arriving at some kind of custom 1v1 between a set of identical twins wearing matching socks. It's very, very close indeed. Scout out there for Mac. Afterwards, we can knock this back up to 0 as we wait to see where he's going. Is he going to go into the backfield, or is he going to try and harass his mirror on the causeway? We will check that out. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this. It's going to be amazing. It looks like, if that scout is anything to go by, actually he's just kind of in a holding pattern right now. He's got to get that in first so he can get a read on where the bomb's going to go. And there's the waypoint. So he is going in after Conquistador. And now, where's he go? Does he go to the main base or he go to power? I imagine he would go to power. That would be the way to go, surely. He's got a read on the power. There it is. He's hung a Louis, and they're clumped up. That's going to be a beautiful snag. Lovely pickup. Kills the work on the Hydro. Cancels that epic build queue. It's a whole lot of wasted APM there for Conquistador. And he's going to get 3. No, he manages 2 though. So that's 4 NG deaths from 1 bomber. That is awesome. And remember, he definitely hamstrung himself on his own development, though, going for that early first bomber. So he's got to make it up, and he's got to make this pay. That's why it's a little bit risky. Can he get something else in? Maybe not. Yeah, in comes another interceptor there from Bennis. Takes care of that, but still pretty good going. So Mac, where is he at right now? Income-wise, if we can hit it. So he's only putting out 11, and Conquistador's putting out 13. So after all of that, he's still potentially behind, but does have a lot more build capacity maybe on the field, and he's getting to work on a massive line of land factories as the 2 ACUs turn up in the middle. Mac's already hard at work on reclaim. Remember, you got the 3 Salem wrecks here, but as I learned not so long ago, actually it makes sense apparently to scoop these ones first. I didn't realize that, but that is, I'm assured by all the pros, actually the way to do it. And it looks like Conquistador is going after the Salem wrecks first. Mac moves forward to engage. Couldn't do worse than actually studying on that Salem wreck and scooping that up while that's in the orbit there of Conquistador. I imagine that's where he's going to go pretty soon. Yeah, switches over to that. Conquistador, so he's lost about 9,000 hit points there or so. Checking in on the mini-map, there's a drop coming across the pond over on this side for Bennis. He looks like he wants to make a play on the side island potentially. I imagine that's where it's going. That's a courier with what looks like 4 units on board. Can't tell what they are yet, but I imagine they're all engineers. Mac and Conquistador start opening up on one another. Remember, it's an easier trade for the UEF to make because they're a little bit tankier. Just naturally, you've got that extra 2,000 hit point buffer thanks to their racial preferences. Always a little bit more tanky. You can see the build orders queued up there for Conquistador. Engineers got on the ground safely there for Emperor Penguin, so he looks like he's going to secure that side island. A chariot was inbound for a Chief Jaguar, but he was just a little bit behind. And does he get the engineers on the ground over here? Bennis does take some fire on the courier. The courier is going to get shot down, I would imagine, by Noob 900. No, he's just going to put some damage on and then bug out, maybe. Unreal. But Bennis looks like he's going to score a win there. There's no immediate inbound bomber or anything to come and tidy those up. And even if there were one under construction, Bennis is lying in wait above those. And there is one under construction right there, 90% done. But Bennis lurking, taking fire from the tracer down here. He's running out of interceptors. But I bet we're going to get to work early on with some anti-air. He's already got that land factory working on a naval yard as well. So the engineers that were due to push right to the side island there, having seen that drop completed by Penguin, a Chief Jaguar dropped off in the water over here and is getting to work on a midpoint set of naval facilities for quick reinforcements and potential pressure onto the causeway. That's actually not a bad bit of placement right there. Mac has shooed away Conquistador from the center of that causeway. The most important aspect of that is he's got the rest of these wrecks, and there's actually quite a lot there to scoop up. If we check reclaim to see where we're at, Team 2 already 2k up on their rivals, and that is basically pretty much down to Mac. And you can see he's more than 2.5k up on the Conquistador. So he has had a much better run of the midpoint than his opponent. Things going well there for Team 2, it would seem. Conquistador is getting back at him. I'm sure he'd love to come and scoop up some of these wrecks. We've got an engineer that's about 30% done, 35% done on that Salem wreck back here. So Mac wasn't relying on his ACU getting up there. Engineer's going to go down, but he's got at least half of it. And most of these wrecks have already got into his coffers. And Mac actually, though he's taking fire now and he's into the yellow, does have some backup here on the ground. Conquistador's T1 span count floundering slightly, so he's going to back up. And this might leave Mac room to get the rest of that wreck as well. So that's definitely a good exchange on the causeway there for Team 2. Things looking nicely. Now there's a little bit of a lull temporarily in play. We can mention the rankings. Team 2 a little bit more spread out. Top rated player of the game, Achieved Jaguar at 2300 down here at the beach. Bottom rated player, though surely not playing like it with this exchange on the causeway, is Mac. He's at 1100. Lowest rated player in the game. So Team 1 a little bit more, or a little bit less spread out in terms of global ranking points. You're going from 1200 up to 2000 with a 1500 and 1900 in the middle. So slightly more squeeze, but as we said, very balanced game overall, so it should be a good one. But then you know it's going to be a good one because it's me. I think that interview I did this week or last week's gone to my head. But there we go. A little bit of harassment now at these naval facilities from Penguin. Not sure how far he's going to get with this. Engineer's already completed a torpedo launcher that opens up on that Sylph, and not much chance of a win there for Penguin. So that all pretty comfortable for the time being. And look at that in the bottom pond for Achieved Jaguar. It's 5 operational naval yards versus just the one for Emperor Penguin. That one's not producing any units right now because that's upgrading to Team 2. Team 2, T2, 15% complete there. So what have we got here? So we've already lost one naval yard here for Noob 900. Pressure coming down from the side island conquered by Bennis early on, or at least captured or claimed. Those units have come down. They've knocked out that one naval yard, but we have a few more over here and lots more under construction. Noob going to make his stand at the cliff edge over there. Massive engagement meanwhile on the causeway. Mac looking a little bit more healthy than he did a moment ago, as that one up front land factory belonging to Conquistador gets knocked out. Conquistador backing up in the face of ever mounting opposition. Lots of Mantis, lots of Medusa in here, and of course that pesky Cyberin ACU with the extra damage that affords. Now look at the tide of units pushing out, not just from the midpoint here for Achieved Jaguar, but also from the main base, bearing down on the beach, or the mini beach really, because it's at the cliffs location, but the mini beach down here for Emperor Penguin. Engineers doing a good job of keeping that tide, that torpedo launcher alive. They've managed to sink. Good one, Guile. Excellent English fail right there. Managed to sink a couple of Achieved Jaguar's vessels. He needs to get in here and wipe out some of these NGs. That will give him an easier run at things. There's 2 Sylphs down here as well, also going to be causing problems. 10 minutes in now and I've hardly taken a breath. This game is absolutely kicking off. And look at Mac. He's taken a bit of a battering on his comm, actually, down to just 5,700 hit points. That's a little over half of his health that he gets to start with, but he has claimed an awful lot of territory. He's pushed Conquistador back, but he's got to be careful. You know, you never know if a whole band of T1 bombers are suddenly going to show up and just ruin your day when you're this far forward on the causeway. And now he's below 50% health, 4,800 hit points there. Cheeky little drop though from Bennis. 6 Lobos on the ground, but a lovely return bomber from Noob 900, proving that he's anything but. Picks off 5 out of the 6 in one pass. Another drop inbound to the southwest. This one has an engineer on board. Wonder what he's planning to do with that. Perhaps he packed it by mistake. No, he's going to go to work straight away on a land factory. Major harassment from the skies now against Noob's base. Noob's comm all the way over here. Needs to bring him back over. Been so focused on getting his navy up to speed. He's opened up the door for an aerial drop, and we've got some T1 spam coming out from the backfield there. Some flares hastily produced there by Shady Socks, who's been pretty quiet so far. I mean, they are the air players. Not totally unsurprising. Look at the carnage going down on the causeway, though. And now Marquistador's got some T2 friends to come and back him up with all of the uber range and damage that they come with. Mac in full retreat from those Gatling box with their rocket barrages. That's it. Needs to get his spam in front for a little bit. There's more Mongoose turning up all the time. Looks like we're up to about 5 now on the front line, with more coming in from the backfield. Mac still hovering around the 4,000 hit point mark. He's got 41 kills, and he's not far off another ranking vet. So that's why he's hovering around. If he can score a few more kills from that T1 spam, recoup some of the HP. Now, is that a fresh drop? Certainly looks like it. Pressure still mounting from Bennis, who's just hurling transports at his opponent right now. Another drop down here in the corner. He's dropped 3 off, and he's going a little bit deeper in with the remaining 2. There's a T2 mechs down here, which is ripe for the plucking. Now, how is this affecting Noob's eco? He's at 53 right now, which is a snifter off bottom place in terms of mass output. Nice little bomb there. It's going to pick up the courier. No, not quite enough damage to do that. If it doesn't take off, he'll get him next time, though. So the factory survives, but the mass extractor doesn't. Now let's check ASF numbers here. I'm going to call him Mr. Trump because the wall going up is a little bit of a mouthful. He might not like Trump at all. He could be talking about the wall in his garden, but how can you tell? So ASF wise here from Team 1's air player, 26 operational. Shady Socks for Team 2, 10. So lagging behind quite significantly. Partial air dominance at the moment with Team 1, and that's good for Emperor Penguin, who's desperately trying to keep his naval factory alive with assistance from torpedo bombers, which he's producing. He's managed it for the time being. More engineers pouring in all the time to build more naval factories. Achieve Jaguar has been pushed back. And Marquistador gets his shield up and his gun upgrade. 46% done there, working on some defenses underneath it. Whilst Mac finishes his T2 upgrade there. Nice new chunk of HP for him. Let him feel a little bit more comfortable over here. Now we're getting a whole new set of problems potentially for Mac as Bennis starts spitting out cruisers. Gonna set up shop over here. There's going to be unending streams of missiles coming Mac's way. And once again, Achieve Jaguar withdrawing in the face of relentless torpedo bomber pressure. Strap bomber from Mr. Trump breaking through. Oh, lovely stuff. T2 mass pump, or mass extractor, sorry. And 2 engineers standing nearby, now going after a T1 air factory, taking that out. It's going to take some fire as he drifts over the Navy in the bay. Tracers under production down here. Down goes another T2 mass pump. Noob down to 48 mass per tick. Some savage pressure being applied to his economy right now. And down goes another one. Down to 41 mass. He's now short stacking the field on mass production. And it finally gets shot down by Shady Socks, who is definitely falling behind his rival on the other side of the map in terms of ASF production. Either that or he's losing significant air battles. Max starting a stealth upgrade, which is proceeding at great haste. Now we're into mobile missile flinging territory. One lone governor withdrawing in the face of what was 4 frigates, but now down to 3. They're trying to chase it down. Mr. Trump completes a RAS up here at the top. How are our air players doing eco-wise? Well, Shady Socks might be behind generally on his tally of air superiority fighters, but he's way ahead in terms of eco on Mr. Trump. So it's 207 to 177, or now switching up 198 to 177. Whole lot of labs just chilling at the side of the map here. Could do with running in to tidy up these Lobo drops that keep being brought in by Bennis. Meanwhile, in the bottom pond, Emperor Penguin under pressure again. Could he be about to lose his presence in the bottom pond for the second time this game? Certainly looking that way. This time, engineers getting absolutely annihilated by these frigates. Does manage to get one destroyer out, but he's really badly damaged. Doesn't last very long at all. Shady Socks just giving those boats coverage, stopping those torpedo bombers, which was so instrumental in allowing Emperor Penguin to get re-established here from doing the same trick again. Three naval yards left over there. A second challenge, though, in that bottom pond for a Chief Jaguar. Oh, we've been busy elsewhere. Marquistador has been getting his naval production up and running in the bay, up the cliffs. And he's almost at T2. This left-hand factory upgrading to T2 headquarters. Incidentally, for those of you that don't know, a lot of noobs wondering what the difference is with the headquarters. Of course, that's a FAF mod, not part of the gameplay on Steam or in the core game. Essentially, it allows you to get cheaper upgrades. Once you've got that T2 HQ, it's required for Tech 2 production. But once you have it, all subsequent headquarters are cheaper to upgrade. So if you've got a whole load of T1 factories, you don't need to just Control K them and hoover up the mass, which is what used to happen. You can actually put them to good use, spamming out more T2 units. So it makes T2 more viable as a play. It's not just from T1 to T3. Hello, what's going on here? Mac went for the torpedo upgrade and is just strolling in with his comm and going after these naval yards, assisting Bennis, who's already got 4 destroyers down here. And suddenly, this looks like a major win in the top pond for Team 1. Noob completely pushed out of the water altogether. And now his comm is taking fire from the destroyers down here. 4,000 hit points there and falling very quickly indeed. He needs to get himself out of range really quickly or we're going to see our first ejections. Too late! Boom. And down he goes, and suddenly Team 2 find themselves a man down. Full share, of course, is on. Somewhere a fairy has died from terminal halitosis. All very used to the fairy genocide, though, with all of these SETONS games. It's rarely played any other way than full share. So it all gets transferred over to the next highest player, or the highest player alive in terms of score, and that is Shady Socks. But even with all of the eco that he's managed to pick up from Noob, and that is a fully loaded Starlifter full of Lobos, he's still only on 244. Mr. Trump, his mirror up there on 275, having completed that RAS we saw earlier. No doubt moved on. Will he be in even more trouble with this drop now? Lots of Lobos on the ground. Venice just needs to give a kill order. Another one in the center as well. Would you look at that? So Venice is all over right now, and Mac's been picked off over here. So another ejection from Team 2, and I'm assuming, yeah, that's torpedo bombers from Mr. Trump. So what seemed like a lovely bit of play early on has rapidly moved in the other direction. Very nicely done from Mr. Trump. So it's now a 4v2. And Mac stuff has been transferred over to Achieve Jaguar. And to give you an idea of what the team ecos are like right now, it's 660 for Team 1 versus 466 down here for Team 2. Total mass generation right there. We've got drops coming in from all over the place. Venice now harassing the main base. Can he get a chain going on? Whoa, good gunship scramble from Shady Socks. Keeps that from going critical. Engineers say, you know what, we're just going to reclaim that and prevent any unwanted explosions in the base. Thank you very much. But suddenly, after just 23 minutes, this is suddenly a difficult prospect now for Team 2. Their cliffs are in tatters. Incursions coming in from the side island all the time. Just relentless drops now from Bennis, who's actually looking to set up shop now. Loads of engineers on the ground. One factory already up and running. Air coverage up here from Mr. Trump, doing good work. Strats ploughing deep into enemy territory. Will they get any bombs off? Had some bombs go, not sure what they hit, if anything. Oh, don't drive your gunships there. Shady Socks losing all of his Spectres in that, and now he's going to lose what ASFs he had as well, but there's just not much you can do about it. There are Transcenders over here, so they'll be helping to thin out some of that mustard chaff in the skies here, but there's so many of them. Still come out really nicely on top of that. Now, seeing a silver lining if you want to for Team 2. Achieve Jaguar conquered the waters, not just down here, but up over here against Marquistador as well. Is now bombarding the cliff base belonging to Emperor Penguin. Like sea lions going after the penguins up on the cliffs. Just I mean, they don't typically lob giant blue balls of plasma at the penguins, but somehow where the analogy falls down somewhat. But you get what I mean. You get where I was going with it. Oh, take out the shield gen. Yeah, he's done that. Looked like it was still standing for a moment. And he's just streaming up the little canyon over here at the east. Down goes another T2 mechs. And now it's Emperor who's short stacking the field on 57. But look at the gap. It's just widened overall. 822 versus 575. They are engaged in a battle for territory. Could we see the first ever full... I don't think I've ever seen or casted a complete SETONS base trade. Or maybe I have once. But there's definitely a wheeling action going on with the ponds falling into alternate control and pressure being brought to bear. The side island not completely conquered by Chief Jaguar yet, but all of the structures have been destroyed. We're just waiting for some kind of drop here from Jaguar, and he's definitely causing problems for Penguin, who's now got to get his comm on the front line to try and battle this tide of furthers coming up from the Canyon Pass. Looked for a minute like he had a lot of defensive units, but it's pretty much all engineers. They're just going to town with eruptor turrets. Whereas they're getting built, and almost no sooner they're built, they're getting destroyed by the suicide mortar spam. Thankfully, the Oblivion turret back here is helping tidy things up. Going to start getting some T2 units, I'm sure. We've got an Ascendant in there already. It's all going to be about how well a Chief Jaguar fares now. Shady Socks will be embroiled in the battle for the cliffs against Bennis. This is going to be crucial. But if he can't make progress has to be made on this side of the map with the Chief Jaguar either taking out Penguin altogether or at the very least shooing him away and grabbing his stuff. Making a fair go of it so far. Sound like a T3 submarine. Strategic submarine. Certainly sounded like it. This is the bit I hate. I can hear it, and you wonderful, observant, clever viewers have seen it, but I can't. It's around somewhere. I'll catch up to it at some point. Ouch. Chief Jaguar.
Strategic launch detected.
Taking some fire from the TAC missile there, and our first nuke out of the day, and it's out from our Trumpian at the back, who's incidentally halfway to a T2 upgrade on the comm. Where is it going? Is it going straight down the middle? Is it going into the backfield? If it's going into the backfield, that could be really, really quite bad for Team 2. Spectres battling to keep the spam at bay, and it looks like it's continuing. I don't see any strategic missile defense, so it looked like that nuke could connect. Support commanders going pop in the background somewhere. That sounded like a comm going up, and it is Emperor Penguin taken out by Shady Socks, and it was a strap bomb rush, so that nuke connects. Emperor Penguin is down, so the first player to be knocked out from Team 1, and it becomes a 3v2. So it looks like Jaguar should grab the cliffs at the rate he's expanding. Conquistador still lobbing missiles away as best he can. Trying to pick off those naval units belonging to Jaguar, and if he connects another one of those on that destroyer, that should be done and dusted, but he's going further east with that. Experimental complete over here for the wall going up. That's a fat boy. And he's already about 40-45% done on his next nuke. We do have a strategic missile submarine. Not sure if that was while making the noise. He's got one kill, so it certainly may have been. But it sounds like, or looks like it was Bennis. They still need to fix that. You shouldn't be able to hear those cruise-type missiles above everything else on the map when you're zoomed out. Must be a way to turn down individual sound effects. I'd be very interested in that if any devs are watching. Is that something that's possible? And if it is, why haven't you done it? We're all judging you for not completing that aspect of your completely voluntary work, which we all rely on. I did actually credit all of the people a few times, all of the hard-working people at FAF who keep the lights on, the servers running, the balance going. All the usual suspects who spend time discussing the game on the forums, working out the plays, the mechanics of the game. Definitely get a salute from me. Nice pickup there. Unfortunately, for the engineers had already made landfall a moment before. And are they clink hammers? Yes, they are. A little battery of clink hammers over here and engage some tit-for-tat play, or actually more tit than tat. They seem to have killed any vessels down here that were a threat to them from a Chief Jaguar, who really has breached. He hasn't managed to get control over here yet. Little light on build capacity. Has actually placed a T3 naval yard and is T2 is upgrading it to a T3 naval factory. Shouldn't that already have the blob though? I mean, it's seems peculiar, or maybe because it's not an HQ it doesn't get the blob, so no it doesn't. So he's gone straight to T3. Must have T3 HQ operational down here, and he does. And he's working on a, what looks like a missile ship. In fact, one's already spat out. He's got an Omen crossing the water now, so this could be problems for Marquistador. But how far, if he pumps out a missile ship up here, he's actually not going to, because that's a strategic missile submarine perhaps? Yes it is, so he's going for nukes in the little pond down here. Seems expensive off the bat, but perhaps not. What are they all chatting about in chat? Okay, I won't attack front. Kill red ACU with bombers, says Penguin. Where is red ACU? Is that it? Yeah, there he is. Pretty close to the front line, it has to be said. Still gunships working on keeping the spam at bay. Over here it's a couple of bricks which have been donated. So he's got hold of Cyber and Tech still, because he's Aeon, remember. A bit of lab intervention from a Chief Jaguar against the artillery pieces, but so interesting. Not once has Shady Socks managed to get in front with ASF numbers, and that is a lot of bombers. So could we be about to see the demise of Shady Socks lurking down here in the pond with his head conspicuously protruding from the lake? Rarely has an ACU looked more vulnerable with the impending strats on their way. Kill command not yet given, I don't think. A bit of camera fail. They're going to emerge over those mountains anytime, I hope. Otherwise I've been sat here waiting for nothing. There's actually Lobos. Oh, they've pushed the comm in.
Detected.
But out goes a nuke. If that's going to connect, that could be interesting. That's coming from where? It's coming from the strategic missile submarines up here. And he's already leading with Janus. Shady Socks under the water, but the nuke is inbound. Oh no. Oh, don't push him north with the strats. The strats might just get the job done on their own, though. In fact, the nuke got shot down, so there's strategic missile defense around here somewhere. I can't believe it. Well, the Transcenders actually have dealt with the strats. He's still alive. He eats one more. Down to 5,000, down to 2,000, and that's enough. Shady Socks bows out at 36 minutes, and a Chief Jaguar finds himself all alone with a grey menace well and truly embedded on this side of things. He's going to have to do something spectacular on this side of the map. He is expanding all the time, in fairness. But there's a couple of fatties up and running now, making life awfully difficult for his spam. He's reclaimed that T3 naval T3 naval factory, sorry. Just wanted to get out that submarine. The Silencer. Do you know what? I could not have told you that that was the name of the Aeon strategic missile submarine if you'd have asked me. Never ever bother to call those units by their names, the nuke subs. Lots of quantum gateways out for a Chief Jaguar who's going to be looking for eco from wherever he can get it very soon. I think he's done alright with the handover of the economy from Shady Socks, so he's up to 812, but he's still 300 mass behind his opponents, and that's not a good place for anyone to be. 2300 rated player or not. Generally not ideal. 37 minutes gone in this one. Titan's tidying up some spam over here. And would you look at the Aeon T3 missile ships? Guile cannot help himself but go on about it. Just can't help it. Anyone would think I'm an Aeon fan. I am when I look at these puppies. So, 2 of these now up here. Any more for any more? Not for the time being. But Buzzkill batteries in full display right now. A cheeky little eruptor just wailing away at the shield gen over here. What was that? Support commander. Support commander going pop to some bricks from a Chief Jaguar. And some bouncers turning up to lay the smackdown on the ASF hordes over here, which are ill-advisedly landing on the ground. Mr. Trump must be down at Mar-a-Lago. Not busy governing the country. Anyone would think I'm a Democrat. I'm really not. I promise I'm not. Generally. Although, to my everlasting shame, if I was an American, I probably would have voted for Hillary last time round. I don't sue me. I probably would have done. She was awful. The least sincere politician in history, but I still probably would have done it. That's why I hope Bernie doesn't win the nomination. I don't want to have to root for Trump. Would you look at that nuke, though. Achieved Jaguar getting beaten up. Just getting beat.
Strategic launch detected.
Two huge nukes taking out major infrastructure. My god, check out all the quantum gateways, yo. Quantum gateways out the wazoo for Achieve Jaguar. And three more missile ships out as well. Oh my goodness me, how has he managed that? So that other nuke, is that the missile submarine down here? Yes, it was. 86 kills. And that changes the dynamic just a little bit. Well, well, well. If only full share wasn't on, he's still got Fat Boys causing problems for him right here. Unreal. So much going on in this one. Apologies for the misses, guys, but it is hard darn work keeping up with all the changes. Payback's about to be a bitch, though, as we've got Fat Boys strolling in. More experimentals. Pumping out all the time now from Venice. Marquistador getting pressure from this bottom pond now. He's about to have 5 missile ships to contend with, and I don't care how many buzzkills you build, you are not holding back that missile spam. Marquistador could find himself a bit of a footnote in this game soon, and it really will be Venice v Jaguar. But the sheer amount of nuclear capable firepower should concern Achieve Jaguar. I mean, he's not going to be aware of it, but if you could see what we're seeing. They're all on pause at the moment, though. All of the engineers have died a death. That silencer still alive and actually halfway done on its next nuke. Beautiful bit of play, though, from Achieve Jaguar, who might be about to lose his presence here at the cliffs. But managed to take out, if he can find a way to take out Venice, who looks like he's building Novaks back here now. We've got a Novaks on the way as well for Marquistador. So standoff tactics now being employed. Insane cruise missile spam going off in the background there from those strategic missile submarines. Whoosh. Clink hammer batteries having served well, but now succumbing to that relentless firepower from the sea, and Marquistador really is going to find this difficult. Fat Boys continue to push forward. Venice will be happy about clearing all of this gubbins up. It has been pretty relentless, but this is potentially a problem for Achieve Jaguar. The ground pressure that's starting to build over here from Venice. Percival's emerging from the T3 factories back here, and he's not got much on the ground to speak of. He's got a few Cerberus turrets here, but they're easily punched through or indeed circumnavigated. Totally not the right word to use there, I don't think, but you know what I mean. Now, what experimental is that? It's a Tsar. Interesting stuff. Look at the differential now. Chief Jaguar. Is that reclaim related or not? Hard to tell. Down to 764. I think it was. Brief spike there, but 762 versus 1.2k. So that gap widening. And with Percival's rolling in on potential sensitive resource pockets, that could be cut down further, although this is a bit of a kill box that Jaguar's got going here. Hillside relief not doing him any favours, really, as some get in around the back. I don't think we're going to see any major breakthrough over there. Tsar moving in. One fat boy out here has been firing back at this horde of missile ships. That is not a sight you see often. 5 missile ships all parked next to each other. Look at what they've done. Just look at it. The humanity. What can the Tsar get done? That's the question. What damage can it inflict over here? There's a hell of a lot of exposed P-gens. There's also a Novak center that's just asking for it. Not sure where that satellite is for the time being. Might not be a relevance for much longer anyway. Oh, he's going after the shielded parts. Is he going after the eco up here at the top? No, wisely going after... Oh, look at that. Takes out all of the SMDs, of which there were many dead SMDs. 5 of them, according to Mr. Penguin. And another one up there at the back. So, very deliberate strategy here for Jaguar. Nuke the piss out of him. Oh, look at all of those. He's not going to get that Tsar out of there. Too many ASFs. Does he have a nuke ready? Oh, maybe it's at the edge of his range. He does have a nuke ready. Oh, it's well within range. Question is, there are anti-nukes in here. Shady Socks saying, Tele GC. Yes, do it. Immediately. So far, I've only casted one successful Tele GC, and that was the chosen play on Canis way back. Support commanders teleport into the back of the base, start construction of a GC, and then they sacrifice the support commanders to insta-build the experimental, who goes on a rampage through Chosen's opponent's base. Absolutely classic stuff. Ah, it doesn't make it through. And he had another one to spare as well. Unlucky. And if he didn't know that that's where the nuke sub was, he will now. Surely those torp bombers will be dispatched to kill it off. Omen versus Fat Boy. Interesting little exchange. Battleship down into the red. And this could be a mistake, actually. If he'd have stayed around in range, he could have killed off that Omen. I think that was a mistake. Should have stuck around, killed off the Omen, and then bugged out, kept out of range of the Exodus. Possibly could have killed both of them. fine margins. Wonder how crucial that nuke could have been had he managed to sneak it in and take out all of Bennis's power. What's going on down here? So we're still at 6 quantum gateways. 7 if you include that one. 7 quantum gateways. Pumping them out. But Bennis is widening the gap massively. It's now 1.4k versus 863. And that 1.4k is all with Bennis. Marquistador is pumping out Epoxy 10 right now. Completely power locked and essentially redundant at this point. He's got his comm out over here. It basically is a 1v1. But it's a 1v1 where a Chief Jaguar has been ousted. Bennis now in control of the cliffs. And also in control of the cliffs over on this side of the map. So a Chief Jaguar well behind. And would you just look at the nukes. That's insane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 13 nuke subs down here. And they were, until they moved, they were all building nukes. I don't know what, if anything, Jaguar is going to be able to do about that. And there's that Novak satellite trying to break through some of the shields over here. Support commanders underneath working on artillery pieces. That Tsar is just going to go on over there and finish off that fat boy. In comes some fighters from Bennis. Air defense is working well though for Jaguar, coupled with the firepower from the Tsar itself. Mission complete. Fat boy down. In comes some more ASFs, but no joy there. 2 Tsars operational. Of engineers massing down here as new reactors being brought online. Needs to bring some of these missile ships to bear over here. We've got exposed T3 mexes all over the shop for Stable Boy. Right now, Marquistador of little importance. He's actually not going for Marquistador. He's trying to get these reactors back here. But look at the sheer redundancy, the power redundancy that Bennis has got. And look at what he's up to 1.6k, and he's spending the lot. I mean, that level of expenditure. Pretty sickening stuff. And 3 fat boys versus a missile ship isn't going to end well for the missile ship. Down it goes. Torrent to the bottom of the ocean. And now the redirect towards things that are vulnerable. Tsar's inbound. Giant pancakes of doom being brought to bear on that shielded section to begin with. Build what fast? What have you seen? Okay, so work being undertaken on a Paragon. It's up to 1,000 hit points out of 5,000 already. And that is being built incredibly quickly. He's basically putting everything on it. He's up to 921 mass. He needs to get more shield gens on it. I imagine, now that they've spotted it, the Novaks are inbound. There it is. Turns up just in time for that other shield gen to blink on. Now, Jaguar has a careful juggling act to perform here. He's got to get it online as quickly as possible, because he will leapfrog into the lead once that is online, but at the same time has to keep the thing shielded. Any more Novaks for any more? Another fat boy that's going to get taken out. Tsar fell on the SMD. Has he got another nuke down here? He has got another nuke. Can he do anything good with it is the question. Might have been the Tsar up there that he was talking about. I'm going to go to split screen because we need to keep an eye on the progress of these two things. And there's the nuke out, and he is going for the midpoint. Sure, I would have chosen that, or whether I would have gone in here somewhere, or trouble is this Bennis's base sprawl now is so huge. There's going to take several of these to land really effectively. I guess he wants to take out the wreck as well, which he hasn't managed to do, surprisingly. Would have taken some value off it, I think, with that. Massive trade. He wants to keep that submarine online. The torpedo bombers are inbound now. You'd have thought he'd have gathered where that last one came from, one before, but apparently not to be. Manages to kill off that round of torpedo bombers, but there's no way he's going to hold air coverage up here and keep that missile submarine alive. It is doomed. There are now two Novakses down here, focusing on that Paragon construction, which is about to go into the green any minute now. Shield gens collapsed on the left hand side. That gets taken out. Focusing in on the power plant. That's the right thing to do. It's going to kill off all of that bank of engineers over there. Ah, painful. And these shields are about to blink off over here as well. He needs to get more shields up, and quick. He's working on it. Amazing how much more powerful the Novaks are these days than they used to be. The Paragon's shielded for now, but there's more exposure over here for the reactors. Lovely bit of shielding. Continual advance up here. More support commanders going pop. And he's got lots of spare energy. I think this thing's going to complete, you know. It's going to go online, and what will that do to the balance of power in this game? There it goes, complete. Now the question is, can he hold it? Can he start spending it? It begins to climb. For those of you that don't know, the Paragon is a type of game ender that produces limitless resources. It will keep up with any demand you put on it. I hear people say that they've managed to break it with demand, but I haven't seen that yet. So all he really needs now is to keep that thing alive and just build, 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 and not lose his comm as well. He's out here in the ocean, but there's a huge amount of crap coming at him. 3 fat boys over here, another one there, another one there. That's so much mobile artillery spam, it's insane. SMD at Para. That's it. He needs to get as much nuke defense up as quickly as possible. And when that para does die, if it does, it creates a nuclear blast of its own. Oh, but look, just look. Look at the nukes. Every one of these has a nuke in it. And there they go. Is he going for mass spam, or is he just launching a couple? He's going for the forward base for the time being. Has he killed the SMDs already with the satellites? I think he might have. No, he's not. He's going deeper. He's going straight after the Paragon. There's nothing. They took it out already. Boom! Barbecue Jaguar. Never tasted so good. And that's that. So it looked like it was winding up for a valiant last stand, but it was not to be. To be honest, the amount of nukes. Look at them all. He's got so many in there. He's got 2 in that one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 or 13. I'm not sure. I think that's 11 nukes. Even after that barrage he just launched, he landed 1, 2, 3, 4 in the air there. So he had ridiculous numbers of nukes. So even if there was more SMD around there that hadn't been killed by, I'm assuming he'd been knocked out by the satellites. Just insane. And then, of course, there was all the ground pressure coming his way as well down here. These fat boys. He was done and dusted. But what an effort. I mean, even so, he pushed up here. He managed to take out, the wall going up here. He took out Emperor Penguin. So he made a valiant effort, but well done, Bennis. That was extraordinary display of eco. 1.5k per tick being produced at the end by him. Absolutely sickening stuff. If you see a transition at the midpoint, apologies for that. I had to splice this video together with another one because it did something it never does before, or hardly ever does. It literally happens about 1 in every 400 casts or something. A replay that I know doesn't desync continuously, desyncs at some random point and you have to restart. And I was already, I don't know, some like 15 minutes or something into the cast, so I don't usually splice casts together. But if there is a little bit of a glitch in there, apologies for that. Remember, guys, if you do want to check out that interview, links in the description below this video. And of course, if you feel like supporting the channel, very welcome to do chuck something my way. You can do so either through PayPal, which is listed in the description, or of course through Patreon, which is the preferred method for most people. Thank you to everyone that's donated so far for all your donations, be that via PayPal, via Patreon, as I just said, and of course, in fact, via crypto. I've had crypto donation or two recently. Thank you very much for those. Your support really does mean the world to me. I know it doesn't feel like I appreciate it enough. I'm not set up like most channels to offer a lot of rewards and things. I've struggled. I did try and get something going recently. Patreon completely shot me down. I wanted to have a lottery going where I played a random backer and got my ass handed to me because I basically don't play the game anymore. But they shut that down because you can't have raffles because it's seen as gambling, and Patreon are disgusting. But I don't like that company, even though I'm happy to let them run the campaign. But you can't help it. It is the way it is. Anyway, that's enough of all of my gubbins. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And until next time, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.